right. I am live. I'm live. So I'm so happy to be here with you. And definitely, if you're here watching, and please make sure you post something in the comments and let me know that you're here. And you can go to StreamYard.com, I think it is, and allow them access to being able to tell who you are. Especially if you're on Facebook watching this, then if you're not, haven't done that already for another time, then it just shows up Facebook user. And I would love to know who you are when you comment. So, with that said, it's a beautiful morning this morning, but it's quite wet around here. I'm in a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, for those that don't know. And so I look at it as liquid sunshine because we definitely needed the rain. And luckily, it's not cold enough for it to be snow or ice or anything. But, it's not going to be a day that I go and sit outside. So just to say that. All right. So I'm going to hop right to it. I'm going to get to the affirmation of the day. And let's just see what that is. All right. You ready? Oh, this is a beauty. And I got a little bit smarter this time. I took and went ahead and copied and pasted. Good morning, Grace. I'm so glad you're here. But I went ahead and copied and pasted out of my notes into the comments so that I would have it right here and not have to spend time looking for it. Like this is a process. Every time I learn something new. So we'll see what I learned today, too. All right. So today's affirmation is, oh, I radiate beauty, charm, and grace. And that's perfect for you, Terry, because grace is part of your name on Facebook, especially. But this is good for all of us because we radiate who we believe we are and we radiate out into the world. We have an energy about us that, yes. But we have an energy about our body that goes out around us. And you know how people talk about getting into someone's personal space, somebody that gets too close and that kind of thing. And the main reason that that feels uncomfortable is because they are actually breaking into your field of energy. So when they're standing out a little bit, your energy can stay right here. Now, if you choose to, you can have the energy go out even further. That's a process. But that's what it does is it's like you've got this almost like this energetic force field around you. No, it's not impenetrable, that's for sure, but it's a part of who you are. And when someone gets too close, they've jumped into that. And especially if it's someone you don't know, that energy you have is almost like a force field. It can keep people at bay a little bit. And so the people that you care about and that you love and everything, them reaching in or standing to getting closer to you doesn't bother you because they probably have a similar energy about them because we attract people who are a lot like us or who are feel like us or go through the things that we go through. And that's why you can go into a huge room and you just kind of gravitate to a certain area because that's where your energy feels comfortable. And sometimes that's amazing that you do that. Well, it's always amazing that you do that. But sometimes it's good to get into a situation where you feel just a touch uncomfortable because that's where your growth comes from. And, maybe you will be upgrading your energy that you have around you. That's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's true, but I will say that that is helpful. But you still have to be mindful because we can tell a bad energy. And, when we get around someone, something about somebody's energy just feels uncomfortable. And so definitely be paying attention to that. And I know I'm getting way off here, but that's to me, when we're radiating beauty, charm, and grace, the energy that surrounds us feels like that, and other people will be drawn to that. And so then you can make decisions on who you let in and who you don't. But to have that for yourself, to feel beauty, to feel charm, to feel grace. Nice, right? All right. And so now let's, oh, will it not let me? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to share that into the comments. All right. And now to our journal prompt. And sometimes that's when things really get delicious, is when we get to the journal prompt. All right. I love this one. You're going to love this one too, Grace. And I think anybody that's watching this, if you've ever had an issue with weight, body image, and all of those things, sometimes we tie our weight, our body, and everything to our value. And that's because that's kind of what society does, you know? If, for instance, if you're, and there have been studies that they've done about this too. Someone that's really, really heavy, sometimes when they go into a space, people will overlook them, they won't listen to them. And like, for instance, not just that, but like, I have a niece that's in a wheelchair, and just because she's in a wheelchair, sometimes people will overlook her or talk to the people around her and not to her. And so people do this kind of thing all the time. And it is really, if you're heavy now, or you've ever been heavy, you will recognize that sometimes people don't value you as much because you've got on this extra weight. And they've even done studies where a lot of people that weigh a lot more don't get paid as much. I mean, it's like ridiculous things, right? So let's don't buy into that, to where our value comes from our body, right? And so, and this may not mean the same thing to you, and that's okay. I'm just going from my perception of the actual prompt. Okay. So the journal prompt is, what are some qualities you admire about yourself that aren't physical? And I will say, I had a client once that was having a really hard time with self-love. And so one of the processes, I had her go stand in a mirror and find one thing about herself that she liked. And so she really had a hard time, and she found one, and it was her eyes were beautiful. And so then I said, okay, now let's get to the nitty gritty of who you really are. And let's look at the things about you that you really like. Now, that at first it was a little bit hard because she didn't really value a lot of things about herself. But once we dug in, she could find all kinds of things that she admired about herself. And it made that fact that when she looked in the mirror and she couldn't find any body features, it made that seem a little kind of, if I'm this amazing, why can I not find other things? So that was something that we worked on. And she got to the place where she could actually look herself in the eyes and say, I love you. And before we did this process, she couldn't do it at all. Oh, so somebody else is here. Good morning, Darlene. I don't see you there. So thank you, Grace, for letting me know. So like I said, our journal prompt is, and I love this one, and is, what are some qualities you admire about yourself that aren't physical? And like I've said before, for the affirmations, you write them out and you put them on an index card, a sticky note, or like I do sometimes with my chalk markers, and I put it on the mirror. And share it into the group making lasting change, because we're really, really wanting to get more activity there with everybody sharing, so everybody can see what everybody's doing. And then the journal prompt, the important thing about that is if you write things out instead of just logging them on a spreadsheet, or just putting them in your notes, or an audio note, or whatever it is that you normally do, when you write it out, your brain works with it differently. So not only do you internalize the actual things that you're writing out, but new ideas and things will come to you. Your cognitive ability of comprehending and understanding and almost channeling information from your higher self, from God, from your subconscious, whatever you're doing, using your hand actually activates that. So make sure you write it out. If you have a journal, which I know Terry had told me that she had bought a special journal just for this, so that she can be keeping her log of all of the affirmations and the journal prompts in one space. And like I've said before, it's amazing how much you're going to grow over the year by doing this. And in so many ways that you're not even going to fathom, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So by doing this, it's going to trickle out and ripple out into other areas of your life. But you won't really see it because, or notice it, I guess is the thing. Other people might, but you won't really, because it's going to be such a smooth change. It's not like today, here you are, and then tomorrow there's this huge difference. And when things happen incrementally like that, we begin to, that's in 3 days what our normal is, then it is all of a sudden our new normal, right? And so what we did 3 days before doesn't even register anymore. And so just think about that as you go through the year. As you get to the end of the year, it's going to feel like that's just the normal. That's the way you've always been. And so we want to have a record. I've kept the daily journal in my book every day. I do it and write in my journal. It's already showing progress for the things that I write. Ooh, and it's affecting your daily journal about your day each day. And that I've also started it, and they're really, 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 I can see the growth. Oh man, thank you for sharing that, Terry. I love that, because the thing is that we can't see what we don't measure in some way. So be writing these out. And if you don't have a journal that you want to put that in, write it on a piece of paper, put it in a folder. And then this time next year, go back and look. What were your answers to these journal prompts? And you will be able to look back and see how different things are. Like Terry says, she can already see a difference in how long she's been doing this. And so this is a special gift that you can give yourself, and it doesn't take a lot of time. But one of the things that helped for me, and I can just say for me and some of my clients, this is helps them as well, is I will write it out on the top page of my journal. And then I just kind of will sit in silence for a few minutes. And sometimes I will actually set a timer for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever I have, to just sit in silence and let thoughts come to me. And sometimes thoughts about all kinds of other things will come up, and that's okay. And then you just say, well, wait a minute, my journal prompt is, and you say it again. Sometimes I end up having to open my eyes and look at it because I don't remember what it was, because my mind was going all over the place. But what you find, if you can sit in silence with it for a little bit, it's like almost like the light bulb comes off a little bit, and it gives you so much more insight into how you're feeling and you're thinking about this, so that you can write from there, right? So take some time today to actually write this journal prompt out. And I'm going to go ahead and share it in the comments here. But write this journal prompt out. Take some few minutes in silence, whatever you have available to do, and then just brain dump everything that comes to mind. And one of the things that I find sometimes is that a few hours later, all of a sudden I'll think, oh, there's another thing I should put in there, and then I can get my journal out and add to it. And, and I do keep a little small notebook in my purse that and I will, I mean, it's small. It's like this. And so that if I'm out and about and then something comes to me, I can write it down. And sometimes I will use my notes on my phone, and I will just voice message it into my notes. But there we have so many things that just kind of come to us as we're doing other things, because when you sit and you concentrate too hard on one thing, sometimes it's it kind of blocks things. That's why it's good to just sit in silence and let the thoughts come, redirect it, let the thoughts come, redirect it. But when you're out and doing things, oh, it's amazing what can happen. And, I love going out and walking in nature. Of course, I won't be doing it today because it's raining too much. Um, but when I go out and I go for my walk, spend time outside, whether I'm drawing, painting, just walking, or just looking, I love to go out and hear. I've got some wind chimes that are in the back, and I love the wind chimes. And then I listen to the birds and all those things. Just being in nature and not thinking about anything that I'm working on, suddenly an idea will come to me that's like, oh, that question that you had earlier, this is the answer. And so it's really good to keep something with you that you can write those down, or you can, like I said, I will just say, I'm not going to say the Siri word because my phone is right here and I don't want it to start asking me questions. But you can ask her to put it in your notes. This is a thought I had, put that in my notes. And I have an Apple, so I'm sure if you have any other phone besides Apple, there's a way that you can do that. I don't know how, because I've had Apple for years. So I do not speak from very much knowledge about those other phones. But use what tools you have to take the thoughts that God has just dropped in you, to write them out and look at them later and see how you can use those amazing thoughts that were dropped in. And all right, so I won't keep us much longer, but thank you so much for being here. And right now it looks like Terry here and Darlene here, but anybody else that is here, definitely write out your journal prompts and use your affirmations. And anybody that's watching this that is not part of the Make Lasting Change group on Facebook, I invite you to check it out. It's primarily for women who are struggling with weight, body image, getting into a more relaxed place with eating. And it's just saying no to diets because diets don't work. And so that's primarily what the whole thing is about. So if that's something that you struggle with or you are working on in your life and you would like to have some support, it's a free group. And to get to that group, all you have to do is go to vickypool.com, and there will be some questions that you fill out. Make sure that you fill out the questions, because without that, you do not get accepted into the group, because I only want people in there who are really dedicated to keeping the space safe, and so that we can all speak from our hearts. And it's just makes things so much better, and it gives me an idea of who you are and who you're going to be in the group. So please answer the questions in order to be part of the group. All right. So you have a blessed day, and I will be here again tomorrow, Sunday morning, and it will be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that way I can kind of sleep in if I choose to. And so, because that is right, tomorrow is Sunday, right? Yes, it's sad that I have to look at my watch and see what day it is. But all right, so I will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you be blessed and enjoy your day. Mwah.